principles on station, but everything I do has a Mars forward perspective. And that means sustainability and reliability. So in a way, that's really good and convenient because it allows NASA to do what we historically have done, and that's partner with industries here on Earth, trying to make life better on Earth too. So just like I have agriculture now dealing with climate change, dealing with trying to develop freight farms to put them closer to the cities where the food needs to be, rather than trying to find some place in the world where the climate has changed where I can grow a certain crop and I'm having to worry about shipping it. We're looking at similar systems. They have to be able to do everything on a freight farm system, on a controlled environment agriculture system populated near a city that we would have to do in space, and some of that's recycling. So it makes a lot of sense that we don't want to have to we want to minimize the amount of waste, we want to minimize the amount of resources we need to consume, and we need to do that here on the Earth, and we need to do that in space. So waste recycling is big, getting the most from edible biomass out of the food we grow, and then whatever is left, trying to recycle that back into the system. Now, that's a big challenge for what we do in low Earth orbit currently. Just from the perspective of the rooting media that I grow my plants in. Right now we use a baked clay. It's called arsenite. It's pretty much the same kind of thing you'd see in a baseball diamond. Problem we have with arsenite is that while it serves as a good medium and structure for the roots to grow in, and the roots can get access to water and air with that substrate, it's not reusable. So I'm sending up, in effect, dirt that I have to throw away after each time. That's not where we want to be. So again, this is where we start to investigate new alternatives for sustainability and reliability. So I'm using your question as a segue there.
Okay.
Right? And let's see. Some of the things we've initially worked with, a lot of what we do, again, we get our funding from NASA. It comes from several funding sources, and they're really concerned about what we're doing on the ground, practical matters for the near term, next 2 or 3 years, and in low Earth orbit. But we have to continually look downstream. And so to do that, we kind of partner with universities. We have college students who will go in and we'll give them some, further out ideas, concepts, challenges we have. Like, hey, how do I grow plants without having to throw that substrate away? What alternatives are there? Can you come up with something reusable? And pass these around. These are just a couple of examples of 3D printed substrates that were developed by a couple of different universities, Utah State, Ohio State, I think Michigan as well. All we've kind of given the challenge of what can you do that's reusable. And they've come up with 3D printing substrate structures. And when you look at these things when they're passed around, you'll see they're usually fairly hollow. They're composed of a series of triangles. And the thought process is that the material we're printing is hydrophilic, so it'll carry water. The water will go up the channels of the triangles, and the center core of the triangle will be open for air. So here I have a system that in microgravity theoretically allows plants' roots to get access to air and water in the amounts they need it. When the plants have grown, you can take the plants out of that material, harvest them, then you take the material, you basically recycle it, you heat it up, and you repurpose it, use it again.
What is it?
That's just, there's different polymers, and so there's a different range of them. We've done typical 3D printed polymers. They look for things that are more or less hydrophilic and non-toxic to plants, and there's probably a range of them. I don't recall offhand which ones they've used. So that does one thing. That gets us away from having to discard it, but that still requires us to fly up the medium. So I've gone recyclable with that.